this is undoubtedly one of the most important decisions you will ever make.
People get married for the wrong reasons. You should marry someone because you look at that person and you think, I want to spend the rest of my life every day with this person forever.
Yeah.
They're my best friend, because I believe you should be best friends by then. I'm passionately in love with them. We have the same goals and values, and we're heading in the same direction. We want to do this life together.
Hey, thanks for checking out the episode this week. We are going to bounce around a little bit and talk about a topic that, frankly, I feel like just spoke to Jamie and I both recently. We are going to talk about making a decision of who you should marry, and probably more specifically, like, this is going to be geared towards single people or people that are in a very serious relationship or possibly even engaged, right? And I feel like you've got a lot of exposure to this over the years as well from a female perspective, but the concept of it is that you're really contemplating marrying the person that you're with, or perhaps you're wanting to be married to the person that you're with and in a serious relationship. And these are just really our opinion of very research-backed, strong things about what a serious relationship means and what you should consider for the future, right?
Yeah, and I'll just point out that I think our crowd is also like young Christian people. And one struggle I've seen with the church in this area is like this kind of like unhealthy priority placed on getting married, especially if you're for young people.
Okay.
That might be a little controversial of a comment, but I think there's almost like an obsession with you got to get married right away, find somebody right away. That's a new movement, even on social media.
Can you unpack that a little bit? Like when you say that's a theme that you're seeing on social media?
Yeah, just exactly? Like it does. I think that so if you have young people that get married and they felt really confident and sure about the person they're marrying, and they got married for the right reasons, which we can talk about a little later, cool. But I think the danger is then they're putting that out there like, you should do this too, you have to do this too. And then you have droves of young Christian women and men desperately trying to force a marriage with someone that maybe is not the person they should be marrying, just for the sake of getting married young, like they're being told they have to do. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not bad to get married young if you're found the right person. It's the people feeling as if that's what they have to do. They're being told by their churches, by their pastors, by these young influencers, and then they're forcing something that shouldn't be. Because they think it's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Well, and isn't it crazy, just to comment on my perspective on that too, because I know we're going to get into both of these things, what you're talking about. On the flip side, culturally, for years now, the cool thing to do has been to date a lot. We won't get into that too much though, but there's the obvious like sinful worldly view of what it means to be single. So we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it from a Christian perspective for sure. But I think it's contrast with what you're talking about. The opposite side of the coin is you shouldn't even remotely consider settling down and finding a spouse in your 20s, get your career established, get your finances in order, figure your life out. And then when you're ready, as if it's like a magic wand, like then magically like Mr. Right or Miss Right will just waltz into your life. And at 33, you'll find this, Prince Charming, and you settle down, you have kids, and the rest of your life is perfect. Like that's kind of like the contrasting viewpoint, right? I mean, wouldn't you say like there's two competing stigmas in culture? One that you're describing, and then
and let me just say, because I love that you called that out. So here's what I would say is wrong with both of those things. One is focused on finding a spouse, and I'm going to obsessively find one, and I don't care if they're even the right person. I have to get married. The other one is all about I have to build myself and my own priorities and my own careers, and all those things are great, but that's kind of the focus based on what you're saying.
Yeah.
Whereas my thoughts are, I think of God's word that says, seek me first in my kingdom and righteousness, and all these other things will be added unto you.
Yeah.
Like our goal in life, whether we're married or single, should be living a life where we're seeking the kingdom of God, where we're doing his work, where we're living for him, we're obeying what he's calling us to do. We're not thinking of just ourselves. We're like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And I just think my opinion is that's where God leads you to the right places, which could include finding your partner.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. One thing before we go any further, so we've kind of talked quickly about stereotypes and stigmas. Maybe I would say it more that way, like cultural stigmas in and outside of the church. One thing I really want to ground us on before we go any further is like, there's a belief that this isn't that big of a deal. And I just want to immediately like dispel that, because I know you and I are on the same page.
When you
with
say
this.
it's not a big deal, like who you pick for your spouse. Okay.
Yeah. Settling down and deciding to get married and making the decision. If this is you and right now in this moment, like you're having inner conflict, we are going to hit that head on. First of all, do not be misled by us either, by the way. Like you need to inquire on this and really pursue it yourself, but don't be misled. This is undoubtedly one of the most important decisions you will ever make. And while yes, you can get divorced and get remarried, no one plans for that, by the way, just quick on that. But if you're not hoping...
And we're not saying that that's okay. We're saying you can do it. It's a choice you can make.
Yeah. So if you're not planning on getting divorced and then remarried and divorced and remarried over the course of your life, you can make a very obvious, strong argument that this decision is a one-time decision that then ultimately like plays a huge role in how your life goes over the next however many years. So
yeah.
I guess the point we're trying to make, and we're going to then go into building our case and why this is so important in our opinion, but don't think of this as weakness. Don't think of it as like you're paralyzed by indecision. Don't think of it that you need to just let it go and it's not a big deal. Like, no, it is absolutely a huge deal. And again, worth repeating, one of the most important choices you'll ever make.
Yeah. And the thing you don't ever want to do is ignore that internal conflict about whether or not you should continue in the relationship or get married if you're engaged. I've helped a few different women who were engaged who called it off because they realized, okay, this is not what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
After kind of working through it and talking about it. The thought I was thinking was there was such a relief. Like, thank God. Thank you, God, that I didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas like prior to the decision to stop, it was like conflict. Oh, should I? I don't know. Because you're thinking about all these different various aspects to it. But then once the decision was made, in many cases, it's like, oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I feel such relief. That was the right. You almost don't know for sure that it was the right thing to do until after you make the decision.
Right. Well, and think about the temporary pain of like lost investment. If you've invested into the examples you were giving, like you've probably put down payments and deposits down on a wedding venue. Maybe you have a ring. If this is speaking to someone right now on the podcast, short-term pain, right? Short-term financial loss for yourself, for your fiance to be, for your parents, for his or her parents. Short-term pain, but enormous long-term benefit. Do not make a lifelong decision based on a couple $1,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 or whatever the situation is. It's not even financial is the point that I'm making, but do not sacrifice your entire future for, oh, well, it would be inconvenient. Oh, it would hurt him or her. It cost us this much money already. I don't know what else to do. And even if you're not at that place yet, I think, I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but
yeah. Well, and that's kind of like when you're thinking about it, that settling, that idea of settling, where it's like, well, I don't feel totally confident. I have doubts, but it makes sense. It's the right next move. Financially, it's a good idea. I'm ready to start a family. That's a big one. So people get married for the wrong reasons. And what I believe, what I know you would, I think you would agree, correct me if I'm wrong, is like you should marry someone because you look at that person and you think, I want to spend the rest of my life every day with this person forever. They are my best friend because I believe you should be best friends by then, or at least like really
on a path to that.
That. I'm passionately in love with them. We have the same goals and values and we're heading in the same direction. We want to do this life together. And then all those other things are added.
Yeah.
Having kids, then none of that's even guaranteed.
Yeah.
What is guaranteed is I'm going to be with this person every day for the rest of my life.
Forever.
That's the guarantee.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're even going to be able to have children.
Yeah.
That's not even guaranteed.
Right.
Or you're going to get the house that you wanted.
Yeah.
Or the financial benefit, because sadly there are people that are like, I want someone to take care of me.
Mm.
And that's
Mhm.
really selfish.
Mhm. Let's unpack both of these. We have two ways, kind of, we Jamie and I, in talking about this, kind of settled on two main things that happen
Mhm.
that where people can go wrong in this area. One is settling,
Which
and
I
then the
kind
other
of
one,
talked
which you
about.
just talked about, and then the other one is stalling. So maybe like break down. You just talked about settling, but what's kind of on the flip side of the coin? What is the stalling
I
behavior?
think that's where you're just overly analyzing the situation forever, and you're not really making a decision. So you're just staying where you're at.
Yeah.
Almost like, well, maybe the other reasons of settling, like I'm afraid to leave, but then the stalling is like, should I move forward? Should I not? Should I stay? Should I go? And I think that even comes into play with couples who, and I'll just point this out, outside of our Christian faith, it is normal and common in our culture for people to not ever get married and just be partners. Like that's a different thing. And they
Sure.
might be okay with that and happy with that. We're really talking about
people that decide
within
to be
Christianity where the goal is to get married. Okay.
Yes,
So there's going to be
100%.
people who are like, well, I don't want to get married. Okay. That's your choice.
Yeah,
you
we're
know,
not
we're
talking to
talking
them.
about
Yep.
that's who we're referring to. So that could be, well, she keeps asking about engagement and I keep kind of telling her, oh yeah, at some point, but then
So
nothing ever
common.
happens.
So common.
And she's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You told me a year ago, I want to marry you and you have not proposed. That's stalling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because clearly that guy's not able to make the decision.
Right.
Or he's not ready. And my argument, and you can talk on this too, is like after a certain number of years, if your goal is to get married, shouldn't you know by now?
Right.
And if you don't, maybe that's a sign that it's not the right thing.
Well, in this, I think, just to give you like a guy's take on this, and you and I have talked about this way before we even started the podcast. And for the record, in case you're wondering, we did neither. You and I did not settle. I hope you didn't settle.
I'm like, what do you mean?
And I didn't. We didn't stall.
Oh, hold on. I'll talk to that. So you and I, because this goes back to what I said in the beginning, it's not bad if you get married young or if you get married quick, because I think there's a stigma to that. Oh, if it's fast, it's going to fail. Or if you're young, it's going to fail. And when we got married, I was 23, you were 27, but we dated for 1 year before we got engaged, and we were engaged for 4 months before we got married.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a rushed, we didn't think it through. It was like we were that confident.
Yeah.
We had zero
100%.
doubt at all. And we've now been 14 years.
Yeah.
Literally never one time regretting or thinking, oh crap, I made a mistake.
Right.
Never.
Right. Agree.
So
I would say the same thing.
Everybody's story is different.
Yeah.
I don't like to take what happened with us and like blanket that to everybody.
No.
So
of course not.
that's a danger we don't want to do. But.
Right. Well, and honestly, like a year and a half by the time from meeting, dating, and getting married, that's a long time for some marriages out there. So you're right. Like there's on both sides. What I was going to comment on quickly is the settling, stalling. I think it can almost create a cycle where, and I do think, I'm going to stereotype for just a second, but typically what you hear about when you think of stalling is like she wants to get married, he's not proposing. I think the case you're indirectly making is that this can create a locked-in feeling for the woman, for the girlfriend in this relationship, to where then, okay, the question she needs to ask herself is, am I settling? Because are there red flags that are going off? Like, why can't this guy commit to me? And here's the point. So we kind of talked about how they're interrelated. One thing I love that we have here in our notes, just to like normalize this, is that nobody sets out to settle. So just to dispel that myth, if you're beating yourself up about how you feel like you're maybe settling in a relationship or whatever, nobody sets out to do that. It happens gradually. It's not like, oh, this one thing happened. He got me flowers and sent them to the office today. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with him. That was the missing piece. Now I'm going to suddenly, like, the switch is going to flip and I'm going to decide to marry him. That does not happen. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
It's a gradual, okay, nothing else is happening. I'm not meeting anyone else in my life. I guess she's okay. I guess he's okay. I could see myself being happy with them.
We get along. We don't have a lot of conflict.
Yeah. Might as well.
It happens. I don't want to be alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a key thing. Like, I don't want to be alone, so I don't want to start over.
Well, maybe that's a good point, even what you're saying there. Can you talk a little bit from like a clinical perspective? So what do you feel like, and again, I do think that there's obviously like gender stereotypes that we could talk about. We won't get into that too much today, but like talk a little bit about what are some of those reasons why you think people settle?
Well, I think that,
You just mentioned a couple of them.
Yeah, I don't want to be alone is a big one.
Mhm.
So I found somebody that's pretty good. I don't feel
Mhm.
super excited about him, but it's better than nothing.
Mhm.
I think they could settle because it's not that this is a bad person.
Mhm.
They just have doubts and conflict internally, but they can't think of a big reason to walk away,
Mhm.
which I'm just going to say this. You don't have to have a big reason.
Right.
And one thing that I would
That's a
point
great
out
point.
is that you could really get along with and work well with and enjoy a lot of people.
Mm.
That doesn't mean you're going to have romantic and like strong chemistry and compatibility and feelings for them, which I believe is important in marriage. And it doesn't mean they're going to be the one that God has for you. If this person's not cheating on you or emotionally and verbally abusing you or acting crazy, you can still leave if you don't feel confident that it's the right person.
That's good. Agreed.
You know, so just saying, well, she's a good person or he's a good person is not enough to choose to make that lifelong commitment.
Yeah, I agree.
But back to like other reasons, I think what I said before, I don't feel confident about this person, but I really want to have kids. And my time's ticking down, so I might as well they want to marry me. I don't know for sure how I feel, but I want children.
Yeah. We'll make it work. Probably.
Yep. I think that there's that idea of I want someone to take care of me.
I
want someone to provide for me, which I think is also really, I mean, all of these are very selfish reasons if you think about it.
Sure.
I think influence from others. Well, they're telling me I should do it. And my parents like this person, or the pastor says we're great together, or I think that's another, there's a lot of different things, but it's like I said before, go back to, this is a person I love so much. I want to be with every day and I want to spend the rest of my life with. And don't let that whole, it's an action. Yes, love is an action, but you should feel romantically about someone that you want to be with. You should feel that excitement about them and that attraction. You should be attracted.
Well, and I want to make a comment on here because as you're talking, I do want to be clear, like if people are saying like, well, I'm not settling, I really do feel those ways, but maybe they're feeling a little bit of like that prick of conviction in what you're saying. I believe, and no, maybe not everybody has like that intuition, but if you know, you know. And if there's any thread of doubt, like, you know, I believe that
a lot of it's our opinion. You don't have to agree.
Yeah, correct. I really do believe that there's a difference between like maybe slightly like, oh, is this going to work out? I'm nervous. It's a big step. You should be a little nervous. There should be nerves involved in this because of the reasons we talked about earlier, the commitment that it is. I do believe that everybody has like that gut instinct of like, I'm making a mistake or I'm not. And I would argue, and I know this is a bold statement, if you have that feeling in the pit of your stomach, that's like, I'm just not sure about this. You need to lean into that more with kind of what you're talking about, Jamie. Like you need to lean into that a little bit more.
Find out why. What is that about?
Yeah, 100%.
You mentioned like that uncertainty. I think it's very normal to be nervous and uncertain about marriage. There's a lot about that, living with someone or putting your finances together. What if we have arguments? Like it's very normal to be nervous about the commitment and being married and how your life is going to change. I think when the questions and the doubts are about the person versus like this big decision to change my whole life, because that's what happens. That's a different situation.
Yeah.
If it's like, okay, because I can remember I said this before on here, I think, like just, oh no, what if couple months or years go by and like something, it's not like it should be and something's wrong. That wasn't any doubt about you. That was my fear about marriage in general because of everything I'd seen growing up.
Love that.
So it was like I had like nervousness, but it wasn't about you.
Right.
It was just in general. So I think it's if you have questions and doubts and lack confidence about the person that you're marrying, that's a big red flag. And that doesn't have to do with only if they're a bad person.
Right.
You can feel this about a good person. If there's something within you that's like, this just isn't the one that I should be with.
So it's important to discern between the two things. I
Mhm.
think too, maybe before we move into some of the models, I know we're going to talk about like what happens that causes this. It's important that we break that down, but we're breaking down like settling versus
Mhm.
stalling. I think reasons for stalling, and I would argue like this is probably like more broadly addressing like both Christian couples as well as like the
Mhm.
cultural movement here to delay getting married. There's this thought that you have to have everything put together and experience your life.
Mhm.
And I think the sinful side of that is obviously like in worldly, it's having, a lot of different partners and all these different things that are incredibly, sinful in that regard. But I think in terms of like what that means in the Christian circles, I do believe there's like a growing movement of the financial independence. I think that people are like crunching numbers. I've seen that a little bit on social media where it's like crunching numbers to see about whether or not something makes financial sense to get married. I mean,
That's funny.
where did that become like such a prevailing thought? Like that's not the reason you get married is because it's a good or bad business decision. You get married because you want to have a life partner and you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody. So I just want to hit that one like pretty bluntly, and I'll let you talk about this because it's definitely more of like a therapeutic technique. But in terms of like what happens with relationship attachment, and then if you stretch that out over years, like the odds are that some of what's involved in that stalling is that there's parts of the relationship that are speeding along faster than like the anchoring commitment towards each other, getting
which
the
makes
foundation
it hard
right.
to leave.
Correct.
So jumping into a little bit more of like what you said, that this therapeutic side of things, this guy, Dr. Van Epp, he has this model called relationship attachment model. And he has found through his research that healthy attachment moves through what he calls 5 bonds.
Okay.
Which are, and I use this all the time in therapy.
Okay.
Know, trust, rely, commit, physical or touch. So what does that mean? Because that sounds weird, I'm sure, to anyone listening.
Well, say it one more time.
Basically, yeah. So you attach through a series of steps.
Okay.
Okay. Step 1, to know.
Okay.
Which is not just to know someone, it's to be known by them.
Okay.
So getting to know and being known for your true self, and knowing this person for their true self, and then trust. And as each one develops, the next one develops. So as I get to know you and you get to know me, we grow in our trust of one another.
Okay.
You can't trust someone you don't know.
Right.
And if you're not taking the time to really dig in deep and get to know them, you don't know if you can trust them.
Okay.
The problem arises here where people just trust people when they shouldn't. They just hand out trust like it should be free, but it is not.
You have to
It
earn
shouldn't be. It
develop
should be developed and earned and seen. Like I see that I can trust you because I know you and I've gotten to know you and you
There's
know me.
There's evidence of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then as that trust develops, you lean into the next, which is relying. Okay. As I've gotten to know you and to trust you, I see that I can rely on you. So I'm learning that you're a reliable person.
Okay.
You're a trustworthy person. You're reliable. And I like you for you and you like me for me. You can
That's
see how if you
authentic.
skip those steps, there's trouble starts to happen. As you know and are known and you trust and see that reliability, that's where you feel like you can commit.
Okay.
And then after there's that commitment, and I want to point out, it doesn't just mean like we're married, that's commitment. I'm talking about within your heart, like I'm committed to you.
Yeah.
Because that happens before marriage ever happened. If you weren't committed, you wouldn't go walk down the aisle. So it's like the commitment piece comes first.
Okay.
Before actual like marriage. And then once all those things are working well, that's where you're really safe to be physical and you feel safe with touch. And I've had a lot of teens over the years who I talk about this model with because it's not just marriage. It goes in any relationship. It's just relationships in general where they're like, how come I thought I hated touch because if my dad put his arm around me or my mom tried to hug me, it just like horrified me or it made me feel really like icked out and unsafe. But I have these great friendships now or whatever. Like I have these great friendships and I love when my friend gives me a hug. It makes me feel so happy. Like I thought I hated being touched.
Okay.
And then turns out like they just have a really unhealthy attachment or unsafe attachment with their parents. They're not trustworthy. They're not safe. They don't feel known by them and accepted for who they are. So they don't feel, so that's kind of how that works. Yeah. So where does the problem come? You jump without knowing, without working through all the steps.
Yeah.
And then you get attached too soon and now it's hard to leave.
Yeah.
Or you overlook red flags.
Yeah, I love that. And I think even to go back to settling versus stalling, and even contrasting Christian viewpoint on marriage versus the current world viewpoint on marriage and singleness, like you can see that in here. Because the Christian view that you described, which like, hey, get married early, you're rushing all those early stages and you're getting to the commitment, and then you're getting to marriage really fast before you've built those things. And then almost in a similar way, but completely different in the world, it's like, well, let's rush to the physical and commitment in terms of like, let's get a house together and let's sign a rent agreement. And then you're living together and
you may not even actually be committed.
And then you're wondering why things are not fulfilling in other ways. And I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. And you said it here, we have it in our notes that when they should stay roughly matched, at least know, trust, rely, commit, and touch. They should stay roughly reasonably matched. And obviously like with the context of like the Christian like worldview wrapped around it. But when one races ahead, and you kind of alluded to this, when one races ahead, whether it's commitment or physical intimacy, let's call it what it is, and that outruns how well you know someone and trust them, it clouds your judgment. Like you said, then you're susceptible to ignoring red flags. And then the years tick by and you're either stalling or settling.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, you could see how easily that happens.
Well, and that's why you just want to take your time getting to know someone. It doesn't mean you couldn't do this all wrong and end up happily married with the right person, of course. But this is an ideal way to do it. Or if you are married listening and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like known at all by my partner, and you're listening to this, make that your goal. We gotta really get to know each other, because we skipped over that.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time. As weird as that sounds, it does. So just if you're dating and you're unsure, ask that question. Do I know this person really well? Do they know me really well? Number one question I would say, can I be my true self with this person? Do I feel comfortable being myself? And do I feel like when I am myself, they like being with me? Because I feel like if you can't be yourself and you're kind of hiding your true self, or you feel like when you are your true self, you get maybe like they just don't like it and they're trying to change you, and that's probably not the right person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good starting point. And then, has my attachment caused me to overlook red flags? Did I trust this person without a reason to, too soon?
Right.
And I'm just ignoring all the things that I'm seeing that aren't right.
And it is really sad. And that's like a good segue into this next technique that I know we talked about, or theory that we talked about, which is the sliding versus deciding. And I love that. I had like some light bulb moments when I uncovered this the other day. And I think it's exactly what you just talked about. Scott Stanley, I don't know who he is, but he coined this phrase, and the concept of it really is just what you just said. It's this momentum, or inertia as they call it, this momentum just carrying you through major impactful areas of your relationship naturally, as opposed to making conscious decisions. And that is critical. I mean, if you think about establishing your marriage and getting a lifelong partner, like you got to make decisions. That's the very nature of it, of getting married, is it's a conscious decision. Does your dating just progress to the point where then you're following cultural worldviews around sleeping together, moving in together, and your next thing you know, and by the way, like we're not condoning that at all. Or flip side, in the Christian church worldview, like, oh well, you guys seem good together. You come to church together. You're doing Bible studies together. Maybe you should make your dating commitment a little more serious, and then like go on missions trips together, and then.
And the church pressures people to get engaged and get married sometimes.
Right. So it's like both sides.
Hey, it's been a year. I think you should think about it. And then you're like, okay. And it just seems like, well, now I have to. We've been together this long. Whereas, do you really want that?
Right.
Are you sure?
Right.
You haven't even really thought about it, is the point you're making.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's exactly it. So the flip side of it is you create these checkpoints. There's these concrete checkable factors. This is where like we'll go back to a comment we made earlier around like settling or stalling doesn't happen in like one momentous incident. It's a progression. And I think that's the point that Scott Stanley's making here, is like try to push yourself to make conscious choices. Hey, we've been dating for a month. I'm really feeling strong about him or her. Like, maybe we make it more serious. Let's have more in-depth conversations to get to know each other. Let's talk, like progress, but conscious progression almost, right?
Yeah. And like be aware and conscious if you have doubt about the person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's easy for people sometimes to just kind of tuck that away
Mm-hmm.
and like ignore it or think,
Yeah.
oh, that's fine. No big deal. And that's something I encourage people to do. Make a list of what are the things that really matter to you, like in a partner.
Yeah.
Is this person, listen, they're not going to meet every single thing on the list because we can have like crazy expectations. So make sure it's realistic, but do they meet a lot of them? Do they meet like 5% of them?
Yeah.
Do you have similar values? We talked about that before, like the need to have similar values.
Yeah.
You want to be moving in the right direction, having
Right.
the same values for your life, know?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
I also believe, and I don't care if anyone disagrees with me, that's fine. I believe you should be attracted to your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at this person and you're like, oh, they have good character, they're a good person, and everybody else likes this person, but I just don't even feel attracted. That is not the way it should be.
Yeah.
I just think go read Song of Solomon. Like, there's a lot of passion and attraction. And like, I don't know. I just can't imagine that God would want you to not be attracted to the person you're supposed to be romantically engaging with for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I just don't. don't. I think don't just marry for attraction. If you feel strongly attracted to someone and then they suck as a person or they don't meet any of your standards or you don't have the same values at all, that's not a good idea either. I think there should be both of those things going on. And yes, there's an argument, attraction fades over time. You should keep maintaining it. And we've talked about that, how to do that. Yes, it fades. But if it was never there in the first place, there is zero guarantee it will ever be there. If it's there, it can fade, but you can get it back. You can do the hard work to maintain it.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that because what is not talked about in that even the attraction fades over time is what you're not talking about is you're always going to look young and vibrant. It's like, well, obviously you're not always going to look the way you looked on your wedding day. But I think two people that are in love over a long period of time can absolutely still be attracted to each other.
Yes.
So I think
but
that's
if they never were in the first place,
correct.
That's
I
hard
agree.
to create. I
completely agree. Yeah.
And I've talked to a lot of married people who are having issues in those areas, especially like sexually.
Intimacy.
And they're like, I just wasn't ever attracted to him. And I thought maybe that would change. And it's so sad.
Yeah, it is.
They have the hardest time being physical because there's not like any, like there's so many people you could get along well with and not ever feel an attraction for. Like that makes that really hard. So.
Well, in a few verses, like just even as we were talking before, the Bible has, I mean, truly innumerable things to say about marriage and how important it is for a husband and wife to like come together, to praise God together, to raise their family together. The verse that's back behind us here in the room that we're sitting in right now, there is Psalm 128, which talks about, your wife is a fruitful vine within your house and blessed is your household and your children. So the emphasis of the importance of marriage. And the reason I bring that up is because it anchors us back to this isn't some willy-nilly or insignificant decision the way some people make it out to be, nor is it something that you should avoid and kick down the road till you're ready to settle down. I think it's important to go back to the phrase like, and the two shall become one flesh, husband and wife shall become one. They're unified. And by the way, like that's repeated not only in the book of Genesis, but then in 2 Corinthians. And then it's also repeated again in Matthew and Mark in various parts. And we'll make sure we plug the references there. But it's the same Genesis reference about two becoming one flesh is mentioned 4 or 5 other times throughout the New Testament. And I think like that's so important. If you think about it, and no, we didn't go into the analysis of the origins of those words, but just looking at it as face value, the way we interpret it in scripture today, it's two separate things coming together, joining together to become one. And then the verse that goes on, like, let what God has brought together, let no man separate. So
that's
there's your charge. Yeah, there's your charge.
Be careful who you join with.
That is not an insignificant decision. It's not something that should be rushed, but then it's also not something that you should just stall and wait around till the right perfect moment when you feel like the stars have aligned and you can propose to your girlfriend finally. That you need to think about that with the seriousness that God talks about in his word.
Well, and for those who are maybe stalling, like ask yourself, why have I not done this yet? Is there a reason? Because you could discover that you've got your own issues and you're like, 100%. I do want to be with this person forever. This is the one. So what's going on? by not ignoring it, I'd be able to figure it out. It could be, I don't feel financially ready, or let God help you deal with those things so you can do what you know you want to do.
Yeah.
And there is wisdom, and like there are times where, hey, we need to wait because there's these things going on. That happens. But it's like becoming one with someone, going back to that attachment, like the know, trust, rely. You don't want to become one with someone who you do not know. Who you don't really trust, who is not someone you can rely on, who you don't truly feel committed to. That makes that whole concept very, very challenging.
Yeah.
So it's like, ask that question, do I really know this person? Do I trust them? Can I rely on them emotionally and physically?
Right.
It's like, would you be there for me if something goes wrong? And I'm like, hey, this happened, I really need, and you would drop everything to show up? But also, if I'm hurting and sad because something just happened, are you going to, like we talked about before, turn toward me and be there for me emotionally also? So, like, there's a lot that goes into this stuff.
Yep.
And then, like, that's where then the commitment and the physical safety. If you don't feel physically safe, think about becoming one in the whole sexual part of it. So that's so critical because the goal of marriage as a Christian is to become one with someone.
In every
That's
aspect.
a big deal who you become one with.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone tell you, just find someone who works and pick them because you got to get married and do all these things.
Right.
You got to have your house and your garden and make your sourdough. Those things are good additions to a really solid choice in your partner. They're not the reason you do it.
So I think we probably don't even need to do much of a recap. I think you just summarized it pretty well there. We talked about a couple different theories, sliding versus deciding, the relationship attachment model, which you just kind of recapped. We also talked about stalling versus settling. This episode was absolutely intended for two different types of people out there that might have caught this or listened to it. And we felt like it was very, very, very much pressing on our heart by the Lord to talk about this. This could be talking to the single people that desperately aspire to be married. And we're trying to give you some things to think about and really, really consider as you're dating, as you're trying to find your future spouse. Then in addition to that, we're also talking to those of you that are in a serious relationship or not, or even not a serious relationship, but you're looking for the right person to be married and maybe you're dating. These are absolutely things that you need to, I don't think we could stress it enough. These are things you must think about consciously by yourself, not talking about it with your future or not future spouse. You need to think about these things in your privacy. And we do not want to miss the opportunity to talk about prayer. I know we didn't get into that too much today, but prayer is infused throughout all of this. I think we alluded to it a whole bunch, like letting God lead you, letting the Spirit lead you. You've got to be in touch with the Holy Spirit throughout this, and He will make clear the decisions that you need to make. He did for both Jamie and I separately, which ultimately like brought us together. That was a huge factor. Don't let other people, I think you said it really well several times, don't let other people, whether they have good intentions or not, no one really knows your relationship the way you do. No one knows how you actually feel when you lay your head on the pillow at night and you can't sleep because you're about to make the biggest decision of your life. No one knows that the way you do. So take that to the Lord. Think about these things we've talked about. If you've listened to any of our other shows, we like to talk about homework at the end. Yeah. I mean, the homework really is to
challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Do I know this person? Do they know me? Can I be myself? Are they their true self? Do I trust them? Is this person reliable? And then so on, go from there. And then one other thing, challenge, do you have doubt? And is your doubt about just the idea of your life changing through marriage? That's one thing. Or is the doubt about the person? Because I think if the doubt is about the person, you really want to think about it. It doesn't mean for sure they're not the one, but it means you really need to challenge that and work through it. And you might need to talk to someone who's not really emotionally involved. Talk to someone outside of it who doesn't really know that to see what they're, if they have any good feedback for you to help you process through it. Maybe not even to give you advice, but just to help you think through what's in your head. Yeah. Without giving you like, oh, do this, do that. Because that's not, you want to really be able to just get those thoughts out, get them on paper, write it down, think through it, talk to someone you trust, who's just going to listen and help and kind of guide you through it. Because you don't want to move forward with the doubt. No. If the doubt is just about your life changing through marriage, take that to God, but you're sure about the person, you'll figure that out. You got to work through that, but that's a different issue.
Yeah. So. And not to keep dragging this on, I have to say this at the end, just as a word of encouragement. Like, both of us were in a serious, long relationship prior, and God ended those relationships and brought us together. So if you're listening and you feel like, well, if I break up with him, if I break up with her, this is what my life will look like. No, it will not. God will absolutely use that and make you a better person and make your would-be spouse that's out there somewhere a better person, and you will absolutely move on, and you will be grateful for the choice that you made in the future. So just a word of encouragement. It doesn't doom you to a life of singleness if you break off the relationship. That's kind of how we started the episode, I think. Yeah. So definitely give that some thought and prayer. We hope you enjoyed the episode. I know we went way off topic of our usual target audience, but I hope this touched you and reached you in a meaningful way, was helpful. We'd love to hear from you, by the way, so make sure you drop us a note. But thanks for being here. Subscribe for more just like this.